here today with Ben Hosie from sfG MentorNet. Thanks so much for coming on today, Ben.
No problem at
We're
all.
all about finding all about the people at the heart of good business. So do you want to tell us a bit more about yourself and your role within the Mentor Network?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having us on. Delighted to be part of what you're doing. So I'm Ben Hosie. I'm the product manager at sfG MentorNet. sfG MentorNet is an online mentoring platform, so it's mainly used by universities, charities, businesses around the world, and it basically just helps them deliver their mentoring programs more efficiently and reduces administration and things like that. So like I said, my role is product manager, so I kind of do a bit of everything with MentorNet. So I do lots of the marketing, a bit of project management, and just generally liaising with customers and making sure they're happy and on board and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
That's great stuff. And what would you say, because I know we talked about this even before we started the podcast, who or what has kind of like influenced you within your career?
It's been an interesting journey. Like we touched on before, I've had lots of employers, but I've been really lucky to have lots of good bosses that I've worked with, and coincidentally working in kind of mentoring now, they've all been mentors without actually labelling it as that. So I've always had good motivators or good leaders around me throughout my career. And then I've also got my wife we work together as well, so she's a good motivator as well, keeps me in line. So.
Yeah, I think mentorship is like so important in the kind of modern work field, and I think so many people can benefit from it nowadays as well. But what do you think motivates you in this business? What really like drives you forward?
I think the customers we work with. I think we're really lucky. We get a good range of people that we work with, whether it's the personalities, the roles that they have, or the organisations they work with. It's really good variety, but you get to see how everyone works differently. And then beside that, it's how we can deliver our service to them to the best possible standard. So everything's a wee bit different, but it's really good having that variety and working with different people.
And you're talking a bit about how mentors have been really important in your career. So I'm sure you didn't just become Ben, the product manager. Tell us a bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I'm born and bred in Scotland. I've lived in Inverness most of my life. I play football. I've played football forever. And I played with Inverness Caledonian Thistle for about 10 years. And then when I was 18, had the opportunity to go to America to play football. Wow. So I went and did that on a scholarship, and I did a degree at the same time. So I did a degree in PE and healthcare, and I had absolutely no interest in using that degree whatsoever after I was done playing football. So I came back to Inverness and I took a job in IT at a local company. It was kind of a large corporate company, and it was basically a call centre, but it was a kind of step into the world of IT. It wasn't what I'd planned to do, but that's where I kind of ended up. And then I've had a few jobs since then. So one was at a company that created HR solutions. And after that kind of role at the HR solutions company, everyone in the company got made redundant. And so I was kind of really not sure what I was going to be doing with myself. And I got two opportunities. First opportunity was quite a corporate job. So the company has a base in Inverness, but they're based all over the UK. So it was quite corporate. There was a lot of travel and things like that, which, I like that kind of role. But then I also came and spoke to our managing director here at sfG Software. And he basically at the time said, we don't have a role for you, but come in and let's have a chat and make the connection. So I came in, we had a chat. Again, he said, no expectations, we don't have a job for you, but it was really good to meet you. And then a couple of days later, he got back in touch and said, let's work together. So I had the offer from sfG and this more corporate one, but I wanted to be more involved in the kind of Highland business community. So sfG was the choice for me. Yeah. So I've been here ever since, and it's been great. So
have you found your own kind of mentors within the business yourself?
I have, yeah. Like I said, I've almost everywhere I've went, I've kind of gravitated towards someone who's knowledgeable, is willing to share their experiences. So at sfG, it's definitely our managing director David. We work a lot together on sfG MentorNet. But yeah, he's a fantastic mentor. Again, without saying mentor-mentee roles, but it's just kind of, it's not naturally become that way. Yeah.
That's a nice wee shout out for him as well.
It absolutely is, yeah.
I'm sure he's listening, very proud. So I understand the MentorNet was kind of designed, was it with a day one charity? That was kind of where things started.
Yeah, so kind of before my time at sfG, but day one had a mentoring program. They were looking to take it online, and we have a software team here at sfG Software, so we built a platform for them to be able to take it online, and that's kind of where sfG MentorNet grew from, and it's kind of been growing ever since then.
And I see now that you've got more kind of, you've moved on to kind of international kind of like clients and kind of like outreach as well. So where are things at the moment, and where are you going? What's the kind of business plan?
Yeah, it's a funny one. We've grown a lot and quite rapidly over the last kind of couple of years. MentorNet's been going for a long time now, and it was growing up to the point of COVID. Obviously, COVID hit, and it was a big change for everyone in the way they worked. But a lot of the type of customers we work with, so universities, charities, businesses, they have a real need to move things online when COVID hit. So that was a really big boost for us. And now, just in general, a lot of different industries are just looking to take things online. It's just the way the world's going. So it's been growing really rapidly because of those couple of reasons. But for us, for MentorNet, we've just becoming, for us, especially in the university kind of networks, it's just word of mouth, and we're building a really good reputation with the customers that we have. So it's just keep growing and keep rolling, keep doing what we're doing. So we've said it for the last few years, we're kind of riding the crest of the wave, but I think that's just the way it's going now. I think because we've kind of been like that for a few years now. So hopefully we just keep going.
Yeah. It's interesting you were talking about like going online, because I know so many businesses had such a hard time during the pandemic. I don't think I've come across any that haven't. It was a real struggle for folk, and you had to stay ahead of the game and innovate if you wanted to survive. So it sounds like sfG had done a bit of that, but maybe you could talk a bit more about some of the innovation that the company's gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of background to the company. It actually started as an IT support company. So at the moment we've got two sides to the business. We've got IT support, and they support businesses throughout the Highlands, and they cover all aspects of IT support. So we've got that side of the business there, and then we've got our software development side, and that's where sfG MentorNet sits. Kind of for both sides, you're absolutely right. Online technology, all that is constantly evolving and changing, and obviously COVID coming into the mix as well. Innovation, they're absolutely needed. So in terms of the IT support side, it's just constantly learning and evolving with what's changing in the IT side. With sfG MentorNet, the way we kind of innovate, I guess, or develop the product is working with our customers. Everything that we do is based on customer feedback. So we don't really come up with ideas ourselves, because we're not the ones running mentoring programs, and we don't know
they can do it for
exactly what's needed. They're the troops on the ground who they know what they need, and so they just feed that back to us, and we try and work that into our development plan to improve the product.
And clearly it's working, because I did read that you've won the Digital Initiative Award with the Highland Business Week. So you want to tell us a bit more about that and what that means to sfG?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Well, one, we're a Highland business. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce, and so that whole, the being involved in that was really good for us. And then actually winning the award for sfG MentorNet was a really good kind of recognition of the work we're doing and how well the team's done to get us to where we are. I think the Digital Initiative kind of award, it was focused around the mobile app that we've introduced for sfG MentorNet, so I think that was a big part of the award. But like I say, it's just good to get the recognition that we're doing a good job.
Yeah, sounds like you guys have put like a lot of work into this over the last couple of years. So I suppose that takes me nicely on to the next question. And what can we expect to see from sfG in the next couple of years? And we've come out the other side of COVID now, you're riding on a high, things seems to be going really well. What's your plans for the next couple of years riding off the back of that?
Yeah, so for sfG MentorNet, again, it's just we keep doing what we're doing. We're constantly looking at new avenues and directions that we can kind of collaborate with people and promote ourselves, and podcasts, or whether it's doing kind of journals that are focused around mentoring and coaching. It's just continuing to promote ourselves and get our name out there, and work with as many organisations as we can. Like I say, it's a network of organisations that we work with, especially with the universities. So the more we can get into these kind of conversations with these organisations, the better.
Yeah. It seems like the business has quite a passionate drive behind it. So what would be interesting to hear a bit more on is like kind of what is the drive that puts this business forward, and how do you sell that to other employers if they're looking to come to yourselves for going on to the Mentor Network? Or
Yeah, so I think what is the real focus of what we deliver for in terms of MentorNet is the customer service we provide, and the general support that we can give to customers. Between myself and my colleague David, we've got a lot of experience of working with different mentoring programs, different people, and one of our goals that we've kind of set over the last kind of couple of years has been able to connect all these different people that work in the same areas, but they need support and guidance, and we try and connect them with other customers so they can support each other. So that's been really good in terms of giving support to our customers. But the second side of that is just the support that we as a company can give to our customers in terms of the service we provide. I think one of our customers, we did a case study, and one of the quotes from the customers was they think that we camp in the office because we're so good at being straight on it as soon as an issue comes up. So that's a compliment for us, because it means we're doing our job well. And
it's
I think
not saying you're dishevelled.
Yeah. But I think getting that feedback from our customers lets us know we're doing well, and like we say, that's our focus, is giving good support. So we're happy with that kind of feedback.
And it must be so heartwarming to get that feedback and actually probably hear stories where mentoring has gone so well because of that platform being facilitated as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we've been really lucky that we don't have any bad stories. There's no one who said it's got worse because you've used MentorNet. Everything's a good story, everything's positive. And MentorNet really helps the people running mentoring programs to take it to the next level. Because hats off, they've started a mentoring program that are supporting mentors and mentees and building those relationships. But being able to use an online mentoring platform like sfG MentorNet, they can kind of take it to the next level, and they can scale it and grow it and things like that. So
it sounds like the team here will be quite invested into that goal as well. But like, how important is it for the team to have that shared kind of drive or goal in the business? I know there's probably lots of different aspects to it. I actually ended up in the wrong office this morning.
It's SFG is an amazing company, and everything that we do is pretty collaborative. So I've kind of said that we've got two sides to the business. We've got the IT support side, who are more local focused. We've got sfG MentorNet, who are kind of almost going global at this point, but we're all over the UK. So very different kind of directions, but it's all very collaborative as a company. The IT support guys are brilliant, and they try and support the SFG side as much as they can, and vice versa. I think the employees that we have are brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we know that marketing is so essential to a lot of businesses, but I suppose for yours it's just so crucial. So how did you go about deciding how to market this, and how did you go about that process, and where are you kind of finding that things are going successfully for you? Yeah,
I mean, in terms of our marketing, it's all just trial and error, and see what fits, see what doesn't. In terms of social media, what we did was we went and spoke to our customers and said, where would you find us if you were searching for us, and how would you keep up to date with anything that we were putting out? We got good feedback from that. So most of our customers at the time said LinkedIn. So we do a lot on LinkedIn. We're quite active on there. So that's been really good, and we've built up a good following there. We tried Twitter, didn't fit. Absolutely fine. So we don't do Twitter anymore. But it's just trial and error and seeing what works and what doesn't. So we're getting into a good rhythm now, but we're always looking for new avenues where we can, collaborate with different organisations, doing podcasts, doing guest blogs. We kind of want to be a hub in terms of mentoring for, sharing, sharing knowledge and having guest blogs where people can share their experiences and things like that. So again, it's just building that supportive environment. So the mentoring's kind of the marketing is kind of focused on being able to deliver that. But we do a lot of kind of conferences and things like that. We've just got back into, after COVID, the swing of in-person conferences, and they've been fantastic. The feedback that we get when we're at the conferences, so we bump into a lot of customers, which is brilliant because it just strengthens those relationships. But then we meet so many new people who are focused on mentoring and coaching, but they're just trying to get their idea off the ground, and then coming to speak to us just gives them a wee bit of inspiration, and they can take that away, and then we have a conversation later on. And lots of different aspects to the marketing, but as with everyone, it's just trial and error and see what works. So.
Well, it's interesting you were saying about Twitter. I think quite a lot of people are struggling there, but I would maybe say it's Elon Musk that's tanking that one. But I think, going back into in-person conferences, I think a lot of stuff was done online. It can be a bit clinical, so it must be great to get back out and speaking to folk for sure.
It's just building that relationship with someone in person. You can read their body language. You can kind of go off their cues. Whereas when you're on an online call, I mean, a lot of us went through it for quite a while there, and it's very awkward and it's hard to build a rapport. Whereas when you're in person,
and everybody's cameras off, and
exactly, they're sitting there in their pants and so
I'm sure there's no secrets there. I suppose what's really interesting for me, and I'm a small business owner myself, so it's like very interesting for me to learn from you guys. What did you do to find your clients and your target audience? Like, how did you specifically try and reach them, or how are you trying to widen that now?
Yeah, so in terms of the mentoring side, like we kind of touched on, we started as part of working with a charity, and that's where MentorNet kind of came from. I think universities is a big kind of part of our customer base. And like I said, we've been really lucky that universities are a network of their own, so being able to go in there and learn and understand how universities work, their kind of process for bringing a platform like ours on board, but then going into the universities and be able to share what MentorNet does is, it's been massive for us, because they're all a very supportive community, and they're all happy to sing your praises to their fellow colleagues in the area. So I think it's been great.
So I know we touched on Zoom calls there and people being there in their pants and everything, but do you think the pandemic has changed the way, or have you learned anything about really engaging with customers online? Because I suppose if you're international, I think you have quite a wide scope of clients kind of dotted across the place. Has that improved your kind of reach out with these people online? Because a lot of the work will probably have to be online for ease.
Yeah, I mean, I think so before COVID hit, because we're based up in Inverness, we did a lot online anyway, in terms of the MentorNet side. So all our demos and things like that, most of them would be online. So when COVID hit and everyone was kind of changing and adapting to go online, we were okay because we were already there. But we're pretty well versed now on how to build that rapport and give a good demonstration to customers and keep the conversation going. So I think what's really important, it's great to be face to face with someone. We'd obviously prefer that, but I think what's important for us when we do our online calls and we give them a demonstration and we talk about their requirements and how we can support them, it's the follow up as well. So making sure you're staying in touch, because it's easy on an online call, I think, to not build a strong relationship, but I think if you can keep that relationship in touch, then it goes really well.
I think you have kind of led me into the next question quite nicely, because mentoring, we've talked about, is just all about growth, and it's such an important part of the kind of modern day world. And can you tell us a bit more about sfG MentorNet and the team and what you do internally to promote skills development?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I touched on, for our IT support side that supports the Highlands, and then we've got the MentorNet team that works globally. Both sides work in technology and the digital environment, so everything's constantly changing. So it's just learning as we go and, you know, evolving with what's happening in that kind of environment. But above that, recently, and it's kind of been an ongoing project for the whole business, we've looked at where our strengths and weaknesses are as individuals, as teams, as a company, and that's really helped us kind of understand where we can increase our skill levels in different areas. So, you know, if one employee's got all the knowledge in a certain area, we're making sure now that that's spread across the team, and so everyone's kind of being upskilled at the same time. So I think that's really, really good for us as a business.
Yeah. So how do you think developing your team, so the team here at SFG, helps bring your business greater value, and how does that add to your customer service for your users?
Yeah, I mean, it only makes it better, really, because, like I say, it's all about the service that we provide, and if we're up to date on all our knowledge and all our skills are at the highest level, then it only means we're delivering the best service possible.
Yeah, for sure. So how would you, if you were sitting here and there was a young person in the room, how would you encourage a young person to start a career in this business area?
I think the main selling point is kind of like we touched on, everything's becoming digital now, everything's going online, everything is starting to revolve around technology. So getting into a company like SFG, and whether it's on the IT side or you're doing the more software development with SFG MentorNet, these are going to be massive industries in the next few years, and so getting your foot in the door early at a company like this is, I think, it'd be a really good good way to get into.
Online recently, actually, I think it was mentoring and coaching is like the second fastest growing industry in the world at the moment. So I
like that, so I hope you send me that link, and we can share that. But that's very encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
So we're delighted to be working in the industry that we're working, and we get to work with lots of mentoring and coaching programs.
Yeah.
And without hearing that, I probably could have told you it's just rapidly growing, how the popularity of being able to run these programs.
Yeah. So I suppose there'll be a lot more need for yourself. And
I hope
SFG.
so. I hope so. Yeah.
It's looking good for the future.
Yeah.
So I suppose the next question, if we're looking at like your customer base, like how do you connect with your customers? How do you know what they need, and how do you really tailor your kind of services to them? Because I suppose mentoring and coaching, or whatever it kind of packages itself into, it looks different across so many different areas.
Yes, so we do the demonstrations and we figure out what their requirements are. I think we've got such a great product that's very flexible and customizable. So there's lots of configuration we can do on the system that makes the product almost specific to that customer. And we do that for every customer. So every customer we work with has a different setup, but that just means that we can support their requirements of the programs that they're running.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big thing for our customers when they come on board. They don't want a software that just they get given it and it just does what it does. With MentorNet, it's, like I say, it's very customizable and flexible.
Yeah. And I suppose, like, as I say, I've seen so many different kind of mentoring and coaching networks and things out there, even individuals. I think I seen one the other day, and it was a manifestation coach, which I'd never heard of before. It sounded really interesting. So what are your usual kind of like customer bases? What kind of mentoring like programs or networks do they offer to people?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's such a variety. So we work with a lot of universities, but we have charities and businesses and kind of third sector organisations that we work with. Every mentoring program's different. So universities, for example, they will have coaching, they'll have staff programs, they'll have buddying, peer-to-peer, they'll have professional programs, academic, so many different ones. Then we've got charity customers that we work with as well, and a lot of them work with younger adults and pair them with someone more experienced in life, or it could be a professional that they're paired up with. It's just such a variety, but I guess that's what we like about the kind of industry that we work in.
Yeah. So if somebody was listening to this and they think, okay, these guys sound like they have it all together, this is somewhere that I would like to market, what's your pitch to them? What do you think makes SFG a great place to go to if they had a mentoring opportunity?
Yeah, I think the pitch would be, SFG MentorNet is an online mentoring platform, and it's there to enhance the mentoring program that you already have.
Yeah.
Or if you're starting one, it means you can come straight online and you can deliver that mentoring program to mentors and mentees really easily.
Mm-hmm.
You could administrate it really easily as well, so it makes your job easier. But it means your mentors and mentees can be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, geographically, the location doesn't matter when you've got an online tool like SFG MentorNet. And then another point is our customers, they only sing our praises. So we always encourage, if someone wants to come on board, you're more than welcome to speak to one of our existing customers who will, they'll absolutely talk you into it, hopefully, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we hope so.
We hope so, yeah.
So, a lot of focus on business at the moment and over the past couple of years has been around being more climate conscious, and it's such a big issue kind of at the heart of a lot of things, the economy, politics, and business is no different. So how has SFG found the drive to be more climate conscious, and how has that impacted the business model?
So personally within the business, we've been on a kind of environmental green courses, and we understand what we need to do as a business to be more environmentally conscious. We do all the basics, we recycle and things like that. I think the introduction of flexible working has eased the carbon footprint, not just of our business, of lots of businesses, but a lot of the team work from home a lot of the time, so we're not traveling as much. And we kind of touched on a lot of what we do, both sides of the business, so IT support and MentorNet. A lot of it's remote support that we provide. So where we can reduce our travel and reduce our footprint, we have been doing that. Yeah. So there's always more we can do. Everyone can always do more. And again, it's always evolving what you can do and how you can help. So we just need to try and keep on top of it and
Yeah, it's good to hear you say that as well, because I think so many businesses have had to really look at hybrid working, but a lot of studies are showing actually the kind of payback of that is people are being more productive. People are starting to look at 4-day work weeks and things like that as well. And the productivity from working at home hasn't actually dropped any, it's increased. So I'm sure your staff are probably enjoying having time at home as well as being in the office some days.
Absolutely, especially if people have got young families or kids or whatever. We've been really lucky. We've not seen any drop in productivity at all, which just means we've got great employees. So hopefully that continues.
I come across a lot of young people a lot of the time who are looking at mentorship now. We touched about this before we were recording, about how maybe back in the day that wasn't the case, but nowadays mentorship is so important to young people, and I think it's becoming a much more common thing for going into further education, into the work world as well. So if there's a young person in the room here, what advice would you give to them if they're looking to seek mentorship?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you kind of touched on it with your kind of statistic around it's one of the fastest growing kind of industries, mentoring and coaching. I think growing up for myself and my own experience, I would say mentoring or coaching was probably, if someone had offered it to me when I was 15, 16, 17, I probably would have said, I don't need that. I don't need that. And
those days you think you know it all.
Exactly, and you might have viewed it as a bit of a weakness or worried what the stigma around having someone help you is. I think that's changed now. I think mentoring is so important. I think people realise the importance of it in helping younger people, but adults as well, who are maybe just looking for a bit of guidance. If I was talking to a younger person, I would say if you get the opportunity to work with a mentor and learn and gather knowledge and understand their experiences and let them guide you, absolutely, it'd be a fantastic
fantastic
experience.
It really helps garner confidence.
100%, yeah, and
especially if you're going into the work world, it's or a new job or anything, you know, it's always really intimidating. You're the new guy, and you know, you're not really sure what you're doing. But if you have a mentor, it's very easy to kind of like have somebody to go back to and rely on. So
absolutely, yeah. I think having a mentor is essential now. Like we kind of talked about, between the two of us, we've kind of gravitated towards certain individuals, and they haven't necessarily been a mentor.
They were just chosen.
They were just chosen whether they liked it or not. But if someone else, you know, gets the opportunity to be part of a mentoring program and have a mentor, then 100% do it.
Yeah. So what do you think is next for the sfG MentorNet? Like, what area of business do you think has the most potential for growth?
Yeah, like I say, we work with so many different organisations and customers, so that's what I really like about my job. But we tend to see patterns maybe coming, or trends. We work with a lot of universities, so for us, we want to keep working with universities and keep kind of building that customer base up. Charities as well. What we've seen, or what I've seen recently, you know, being at conferences or talking to potential customers, the medical community and that kind of industry is mentoring and coaching is becoming a real thing for them, which is great to see. It's great to see.
Great news for you.
Yeah, great news for us. But it's like we've just said, you know, these people working in that industry, it's obviously a hard, stressful jobs that you have in that. If you've got mentors that can help you and guide you, then excellent. But that's kind of, I've seen a lot of things come up in terms of the medical industry where mentoring and coaching could be of use.
Yeah. I suppose for me, when I think about my time of like in my kind of career, there's been so many like positives like for me to have a mentor. So just as a personal question that I'd love to ask, what is like one success thing that you've really gained from a mentor in your career? Because I think that's really quite interesting actually, because you always take little bits from people that you work with you. What's one thing that you would say has been like really beneficial with one of the mentors you've worked with?
That's a good question. It is a good question. We kind of said this before we came on. I've been, as opposed to maybe some other people, I've been really lucky with the managers I've had, or the bosses that I've worked with. To pin it down to one thing, I don't know if I could pin it down to one. You're right, absolutely right. You take little things from each person that you learn from. I think the two things that I've kind of learned is to continue learning.
Yeah.
Always be kind of making sure you're developing yourself, because if you're developing yourself, you're helping the business that you're working with. And the second one is just bring value.
Yeah.
Little things that you do, even if you think you're not bringing value. I think that's what I found at the start of my career. It's maybe imposter syndrome, but you kind of think that you're not doing enough and you're not bringing enough value. But when you've got someone who is a mentor, kind of like David or my previous manager, they kind of say, well, no, absolutely what you're doing does bring value and that's really important for the business. So if you just kind of focus on that yourself, then for me, personal development is, you know, it's everything, because it's what keeps you going, whether I'm at sfG for the rest of my life or I go somewhere else. The personal development is going to help me with everything I do, not just in work, but at home and things as well. But then as sfG MentorNet, we also get to play a part in other people's personal development and give them the tools to be able to develop. And the people who want to help people develop, we're helping them as well. So it's good to have that passion personally and then being able to share that with the customers we work with.
It really is. I think it's just such an important role to play within business nowadays, and I hope listeners are thinking about what they can do in their own business as well. So to wrap up, Ben, is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners about sfG?
I think we've probably talked a lot about what sfG does and who we are, but I think the main thing is we've got two parts of the business. We've got our IT support side that does everything to do with IT support for Highlands and Island businesses. So we're heavily in the Highland business community with that. And then we've got sfG MentorNet that's more across the UK and globally as well. So if anyone's looking for IT support, you know where to come in the Highlands. But if anyone wants to learn more about mentoring, absolutely get in touch with us. We've got our websites, we've got, lots of kind of case studies that we can share information with. We're everything we do is around the service we provide. And I kind of touched on with the MentorNet, we want to kind of build a culture and a hub of us being able to bring people together and share knowledge and support each other. So if there's anyone involved in kind of mentoring or coaching, then we'd love to have a discussion about how we can maybe collaborate and just share knowledge with that kind of community.
So if anybody was wanting to get in touch with you online or in person, do you have what social platforms are you on? What are your tag handles?
Yeah.
Give us a wee plug.
Yeah. So LinkedIn's a big one for us. So we're on there as sfG MentorNet and sfG Software. We obviously have our website, so www.sfgmentornet.com. And just we've got our email addresses on there and our socials, so just get in touch, or you can just email me directly, ben@sfgsoftware.com, and we'd be happy to have a discussion about anything.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for sitting and speaking to me today.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, we've really, really enjoyed the conversation with you. I'm feeling very inspired and thinking of going off and looking at my personal development plan for sure. For all the listeners at home, thank you so much for joining us back at the DBNN Good Business podcast, where we're really looking at the heart and soul of business and the people behind it. And we hope to catch you up on the next episode.